Software engineering is amazing when it comes to the money, the salary, the compensation, free food, the free beverages. What was I talking about again? Hey guys, it's Jawad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Alright, so in this video I have something very interesting planned out for you guys, and that is reasons why you guys should not become a software engineer. Now, I want to be very clear that this video is not meant to discourage anyone or not meant to say that you
should not become a software engineer whatsoever.
But rather, I'm really just trying to give a different perspective as to downsides to software engineering that we often neglect. In this video, I'm actually going to be playing different videos from different YouTubers who, when asked a question as to why should you not become a software engineer, they had their own responses. And so I'm actually going to be playing the part of the video where they say their response and then the reasoning behind it and my own thoughts. That's what I'm going to be adding in. I really hope that you guys end up enjoying this video. And so without further ado, let's just cue the recording.
A lot of you got into this field or are trying to get into this field because you want to make more money than you're making now, or maybe you want to make a really good salary, maybe like $250,000 a year or more. A big red flag for me is when I see somebody who views this as a get-rich-quick scheme. Usually a telltale sign of this is they want to get into the field very quickly. They have set a very short timeline for themselves to learn this, like a few weeks or a few months, and they believe that there's just like a course or two that they can take to get into this. If that's how you view this career path is probably not for you. I call programming a get-rich-slow scheme. So in order for you to make better money, you have to go down the long path of just doing the work every day, getting better slowly.
I mean, don't ever expect to get in the industry and like in a couple of weeks, you do like a few courses and then get like a $250,000 paying job. Like, that is not really how it works. I mean, I guess there are a few anomalies out there. I mean, like Clement was one example, how within like 6 months he wrote his first line of code and then got into Google, in which he had a really nice paying job. But don't expect that to be the norm. Typically, people who've gotten into those really high paying jobs are either people who are college graduates who've been through 4 years of education, who have like degrees to back them up, or you actually have to be in the industry for a long time and have worked your way up to the rankings. And so that is the way that you can make those like crazy high paying numbers. And so don't expect that as soon as like within a couple of months you'll be making like Lambo money by any means. Like, that is not how software engineering works. If you really want that, just like invest your money into like Dogecoin or something like that, and like you'll probably be successful.
You will always be learning. Things are always constantly changing in technology, so you always have to kind of learn the new technologies. If you're a person that just always consistently wants to learn, then I feel that this is great. But if you're not and you like doing more like repetitive things, then maybe this field is not the greatest for you.
You have to always be learning. You always have to be on top of your game. Like, don't expect like if you graduated college from like 20 years ago that those skills that you have are still entirely like what you're going to be working with. Like, that is not how it works. I know many people who have been working at a company for a really long time, just like working with one set of technology that they've been working with for like over 10+ years, and by the time that they're trying to move out and seek other opportunities in different companies, their skills are somewhat obsolete. Like, they aren't able to get a job anywhere else because they worked at that company. All they have are experiences with that old technology, and so they just aren't able to be hired by anyone who's working with new technologies. And so it's always important to always be learning, always staying on top of your game. Like, for example, cloud computing, AWS, Azure, things like that weren't really that big of a deal back in the day, but now they are pretty big deals. And so if you're able to like learn those skills, you'll be on your A game and hopefully you'll be able to be hired. And so you always benefit from always learning within software engineering, and you actually always have to. So if this is not something for you, definitely do not pursue software engineering.
In tech, prepare to have your validity checked for every little aspect of your technical identity, like your programming language of choice. Wow, you code in Python? True programmers code in C++. Ha! C++ is for melons. Really real programmers code in C. C? Ha! That's cute. The realist programmers code in machine code. Ha ha. Real machines program humans. What?
Okay, so this point I'd say is more true for college students or people who are studying computer science, because those are the people who are first initially learning, who don't really know much about computer science. Many different people in the computer science degree program have many different like levels of experiences. Like some people are really good with C, C++, whilst many like beginner programmers may only know like Python or Java. And so like that imbalance leads to some people who really don't know that much but are kind of like in the same situation as other people. But I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how well you like really compare yourselves to others, because I mean, you only really need the skills that you need for a job that you're seeking. You don't really need more skills than the next person out there. And so with that being said, although this was a valid point that he made, I don't believe like this is like something that should necessarily like discourage you from software engineering. Like that is just something like a hump that you have to like overcome, like not comparing yourself to others and really trying to like get out of like the whole imposter syndrome.
Second reason for which you shouldn't be a software engineer is if you're someone who does not like, or who doesn't think that they'll like, spending multiple hours, long periods of time alone at your computer.
Okay, so I gotta say this one is a little more difficult for me to agree with, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's not all software engineering is about. You're not just like 24/7, or I guess like 8 hours a day, like sitting behind a screen all by yourself and just like coding. That is not really what software engineering is about. There is so much more to that than just sitting behind like a computer screen and just coding. You have different meetings. Sometimes you even have to like travel for your meetings. But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, the majority of your work is coding. You do have to be comfortable with sitting behind your computer for a good amount of time. But I mean, he said that you have to sit alone, which I mean, I don't think is necessarily true. When I like worked in person, like I had my teammates a desk away from me who were like all like close by. So like I wouldn't say like I ever felt like lonely in that sense. But I mean, I guess like unless he's like talking about like quarantine edition or like work from home edition, where you're just like sitting behind your monitor like literally all day, like even for meetings, like in that case, like then that makes sense. But I guess like overall, like if you're considering this field, don't think that all you're going to be doing is sitting behind a computer screen, because that's just false. Like there is so much more to software engineering than just that. And in fact, like a lot of times it can be like much more exciting than what you anticipate at first. Okay, so now I just want to take a couple minutes and give my own piece of advice as to why you should not become a software engineer. And the number one reason that I say that do not become a software engineer, if you're being forced to, or you're doing it for other reasons, like your friends are doing it, or like everyone in your family has done it and that you are sort of expected to do it, like all those reasons are not valid whatsoever. Do not become a software engineer unless you really want to, because software engineering, I'd say, is difficult for people who aren't really passionate about it, because at core, at fundamentals, like other than coding, software engineering is all about problem solving. And so if you're not like naturally inclined to solve problems, then this field is simply not for you. Like you got to do something that you're actually passionate about and you're actually like interested in, because only then in that case, like yeah, sure, in computer science, like the money is really nice, but if you do something you're actually passionate about and actually interested in, then in that case you'll actually like have the interest into pursuing it full on and actually trying to become like an expertise in whatever field that you're in. And then in that case, the money will follow you, rather than you just trying to like scavenge and try to get as much money as possible in the computer science field. And also, with that being said, many people have a stigma against computer science, saying, I don't want to become a computer scientist. Like, I don't want to be like that geeky, nerdy type that just like spends like hours on end in front of a computer. And like, if you have that feeling, at least try out computer science. Like, for example, I wasn't sure about computer science before I took like 1 or 2 classes, but I took those classes and I actually enjoyed it, and I actually was interested in it, and I actually decided to take it on full time. And so with that being said, like if you just had like those like weird feelings about the field before you actually take any classes, then like you'll never like know what you're missing out on, and like you could be missing out on like a real gem or like a real uncovered passion that you have. And so with that being said, just to like end it out, always be sure to not do anything if you're being forced to actually pursue whatever you're really passionate in. And also, if you haven't given something a chance, be sure to actually give it a chance, take a class or 2, and after that, if you don't like it, then don't pursue it. But if you do like it, then pursue it, obviously. Well, that's about all I have for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. And lastly, just as always, for more content, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video.